Come correct or don't come at all.
This is the Hartzog Hustle Podcast.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
And we're talking about the hustle, strategy, and mindset you need to win in the areas of your finance, your purpose, and your future.
You know what I'm saying?
If you have heart and you want to learn how to activate the power of your hustle, then this is the podcast for you, baby. For you, baby.
Congratulations.
And now, your hosts, Anthony and Janilka Hartzog.
This is how it should be done.
Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Hartzog Hustle Podcast. My name is Anthony, and I'm joined here by my beautiful
That's
wife.
what I was waiting on. That's why
my
you're saying
beautiful
that.
wife, Janilka.
Hello.
What's going on? Appreciate you guys being here. Please, before we get started, please like, subscribe, share, rate, and review this podcast on your favorite platform because it allows us to continue to grow. We are growing, man. We got like 75 reviews online somewhere.
Thank you. Maybe by the time you listen, we have more, but yes,
so hopefully, please rate this. Stop right now and just go rate it right now.
Pause it.
Before we even continue.
Pause. We'll wait.
We'll be here when you get back. So this episode is also brought to you by Cleaning Business University, cleaningbusinessuniversity.com. If you guys didn't know, we have a cleaning business.
Yes, we have a cleaning business that we own down here in Dallas, Texas, and then we also have a course teaching people on how to get their cleaning business up and running. So cleaningbusinessuniversity.com, that's where you can go to get all the additional details. Tip, we do not clean at all. So that's what makes it even better.
And we're about to have $1 million cleaning business too without cleaning any single house. So cleaningbusinessuniversity.com. Links will be in the show notes.
Yes.
So we'll go ahead and get started. So I was on social media, as I always am. And I was on my side of Twitter.
It came to my side.
It was on your side of Twitter too.
Mm-hmm.
So there was this lady who posted a video of her like getting help with her family, right?
What
was the story on that?
She posted like her nighttime routine when her postpartum doula comes at night. That's what you talking about?
Yeah, that one.
Okay, you serious? When her postpartum doula comes at night, she posted this video on TikTok, and it went viral.
TikTok.
Yeah, it went viral.
Somebody viral on TikTok too.
Yeah, it went viral. It was on Twitter, it was on Instagram, it was on all these other pages. I don't know if Shade Room had it, but it went viral.
Yeah.
And the comments, I don't know if it was most of the comments, but negative stands out from the positive. A lot of people were like bashing her for getting the help, basically. Yeah. A lot of people were saying, well, you're losing that bonding time with your child. And it's 8 hours, by the way. You're losing the bonding time with your child. And I didn't have this help. A lot of it was stemming from that's not how it was for them, I feel. But then there was positive comments like, people say like, we always speak about getting help, right? You always talk about you should have a community, you should have a support when you have children. And here she is showing that she's getting help. And people are just it was an uproar of just negativity, basically.
So
that's social media too.
So why do you feel like that was happening to her? Because I saw the video and I was like, I want that for you.
You're like, I'm dope. That's dope.
I was like, that's dope. I was like, we want all of that. I was like, I want somebody to come in the morning to wake us up. I want someone before we go to bed to put the baby to sleep. I want somebody to watch the baby while they sleeping, while we sleeping. I want all of that for you, for us. So when I saw that video, I was like, that's amazing that she's a busy entrepreneur. She's bringing in income for her family. Mm-hmm. But then she also has this help. So why do you feel like people were kind of shading her for that? You think because they couldn't afford it?
You just being shady. That's what you saying.
You think that's why they couldn't afford it?
I think people were shading her because one, maybe the lack of knowledge that it's out there, that
true.
This is an option that you can do. It doesn't take away from you being a mother, and that's what a lot of people were saying. I'm like, 8 hours? I mean, I really don't. I would never agree with that. Two, I think it also impacted them. It hit a nerve because it's not they had to struggle.
Yeah.
You know how a lot of people feel like if I struggle, you gotta struggle, or like, you know what I mean? And so I think that's what a lot of it had to do with, because it logically doesn't make any sense. You're getting help the same way a parent would help, and nobody would say anything. So what? Just because I'm paying for it, it makes a difference? Like,
so you're saying if it was her mom or a father or grandmother helping her,
I don't think it would have the same aura. No, they'd be like, oh, they're bonding with their grandchild. But because she showed that she can get a break because she went to take like a bath. Yeah, light a candle, whatever, a little vlog for TikTok, read a book while the child was, she was being cared for in her home with this person.
Oh, she was.
The person walked into her home at that. People were just anti any of that, which ain't my life. Okay, I don't do struggle. Okay. That ain't my life.
That's a big part of social media.
So,
that's a big part of social media. People love to see.
There's nothing rational.
They probably loved her when she was coming up, but now that she's up, they probably want to find reasons to hate on her too.
Yeah, it just logically doesn't make any sense to me. It's like, what?
So if
what
you could afford the help, get the help.
Get the help. Yeah. Which brings us to our topic today. We are going to be new parents. I guess that's what it's called.
I don't have any other kids. I guess I'm a new parent.
Yeah. Besides our dog Boo.
Shout out to Blue.
Yeah. So we're gonna be new parents, and we want to talk all things of what we've been kind of discussing, what's coming up, expectations. I don't know. We don't know. We kind of.
Yeah.
Like anything, I guess you don't really know until it's here, because everybody's like, "Oh, are you guys ready?" And I'm like, "As ready as can be."
That's one of the questions we get most of the time is like, are we ready? And I respond the same way as like, I'm as ready, like you said, I'm as ready as I can be. And if I can get ready even more
ready,
bring the ready on. Give me whatever tips and process and procedures you have that will help me get more ready than I already am. Mm-hmm. But I don't think we could be more ready for as parents.
What does ready even look like though?
I don't think you're really ready for anything, number one. I think you could be more ready, but I don't think you can be fully ready.
Right.
We're still trying to figure out what ready is. Because if a baby came today, will we be ready? Maybe not. We don't got a place for the baby to sleep.
Yeah, you do technically. You got a bed.
I got a bed. So I guess we are ready, 100%. Let's go.
You got a bed. You got a blanket down. You got breast milk.
All right, we got that. We good. What else we need then? We done.
If you could do that, or if not, you go to Target and get Symlite. It's real easy. Exactly. Or the hospital could give it to you. So yeah, I guess the first thing is expectations that we have for, I don't know, what parenthood would look like, what having a kid looks like. What did you think? What it is it now? I could start.
Go ahead.
I figured that I was going to be a whale while pregnant. Mm-hmm. Now, like really big, simply because I'm not a petite woman. I'm not a small person at all. And so I figure I just know. Yeah. When I get pregnant, I'm going to really blow up. I'm going to gain a lot of weight. It's just not going to be fun. It's going to be very uncomfortable. Just, you can tell, all that type of stuff, which has been like the complete opposite for me.
How much you gained?
Right now, I think right now I've gained 23 pounds.
Okay.
I remember when I told you that, you're like, whoa.
It sounded like a lot then. It don't seem like a lot now.
But that was my thought process, that I would just be way bigger, and I wouldn't, not that I wouldn't enjoy the process, just my body would change so dramatically. Yeah. Is what I thought would happen. And it's been the complete opposite. Like my stomach really didn't pop really until like month 6.
Probably until yesterday.
What are you talking about?
Like this morning, you said that your stomach looked bigger today.
Because I was thinking maybe it's dropping. You guys know what that means? Like the baby's coming. I don't think you know what that means. But
no.
Yeah.
Explain to the people what that means.
Your stomach dropped, that means the baby's preparing to come out.
There we go. Now they know.
So that was one thing that I expected with pregnancy. I don't know. What did you expect?
With me, my expectations were like, you hear, like with anything in life, you hear all these horror stories. You're like, oh my God, when my wife was pregnant, things were horrible. She was craving. I was running to the store all the time.
I had no cravings. I'm mad about that.
I couldn't sleep. She couldn't sleep. I couldn't eat. So my expectations were revolved around what other people said. And that's usually where you get your expectations from. Is either what your friends and family say or what the media tells you. So my expectations were revolved around what my friends and family were saying happened to them. So when we first started, I was like, oh, wow, I'm expecting all these challenges to occur where, now, all right, you want cravings. So I got to get up and go to the store in the middle of the night for butter pecan with pickles or something like that.
Not pickles. I never like pickles. So, but yeah, people's appetite changes.
But that's where expectations come from for the most part. It's like either, your immediate circle or what the media tells you. So that's where that's what my expectations were. So you haven't had any cravings. You haven't had any. I mean, your sleep has been a little bit off recently, but aside from that, it's really been anything like that.
I did think I would be eating more. I was looking forward to that, the cravings and being,
you've definitely been saying you've been looking forward to eating more,
and that has not been the case. I had what they call like an adverse reaction, where there's certain things that I knew I just didn't want to eat.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. So instead of wanting more, there's certain things I just was like, I just don't feel like it. Like even though ground turkey was one of them. Like I eat ground turkey regularly.
I love ground turkey too. We got ground turkey in the fridge right now.
And then all of a sudden I'm like, I don't want it at all.
So I'm eating all the ground turkey.
I don't want it at all. That was like the biggest thing.
But then also in regards to just the meals, I think one of the expectations was that family and friends said you gain weight when your spouse is pregnant. And then I was beating that for so long. I was like, nope, not it.
Yeah.
And I think the more busy we got, the less focused I became around
working
my fitness and working out. So that's about working out. I'm still hitting the gym, but my eating has been right on par with your eating, which has been a challenge. So I haven't gained 20 pounds, but I also gained some weight. So I'm still working out every single day, but my expectation was that I would gain weight. So I cut it. I didn't do it for as long as possible. And now it's starting to hit me like, all right.
Towards the end.
We had Popeyes, we had Chick-fil-A, we had McDonald's. Not McDonald's. We don't go that
McDonald's.
low.
Not that low, child. Them fries be here.
Yeah. So that was one of the expectations that I had, which has actually come true.
And
I haven't gained pregnancy weight though.
Working out, I thought that was going to work out.
Yeah, I was really looking forward to continuing to work out.
The thing about it is, I thought that was going to continue to work out. The thing about it is that I just haven't. It's just I just literally haven't. And every time I spoke to the doctor, he's like, if you work out regularly, you can work out. There's nothing stopping you. You can work out.
It's all mental at this point.
It's all mental, but I just didn't. I don't know if I was scared. At one point I was scared to work out.
I mean, you're probably more scared now if you went to the gym.
Well, more scared now, and then I had to froze my membership, so I'm like, I ain't about to pay to go back now. Yeah. But now, like, towards the end of pregnancy, I keep saying, like, I can't wait to work out again. I can't wait to work out again. And Tony's like, you can go right now. Like, there's nothing.
We can literally stop this podcast recording right now
and head there now.
And go to the gym and come back and pick this up again.
And not work out necessarily, because I need my body back or anything like that, but just, it was a routine. I work out 4 to 6 days a week. So it was a routine. It makes me feel good. I enjoy the classes. I enjoy squatting. I enjoy lifting heavy. Like, I enjoy all of that, actually. I know people don't like the gym, but I actually enjoy that. So that was something that I thought I would continue, because then they say that helps with delivery and everything. So that is something else.
But then you probably like seeing that change in your body too. Like, all right, and also just the challenge in weight. So you said you like squatting. All right, I like 135. Now I'm going to 140, 150.
Yeah.
You like that challenge. It's a part of your life. It's something you were doing. So expectations around that was that I would continue to work out. So I have continued to work out. But then also I did expect us to continue to work out together.
Yeah.
So I was hoping
Sorry,
for that.
I let you down there.
And then I heard about pregnancy yoga and stuff like that. So we haven't done anything like that though.
No, I haven't moved.
Nah. Not at all.
Not at all, child.
I've
been walking.
Oh, we've been doing 30-minute walks.
I've been doing 30-minute walks. And like I said, there's no rhyme or reason. I just haven't done it.
It is what it is.
It is what it is. What else? The expectation? Anything when it comes to the child that you're expecting?
So I expect to not get any. There's another thing too.
Oh, the sleep.
You go back to those expectations that people set, that their experience is now it has to be your experience.
Yeah.
So it's like, whoa, she's gonna gain all this weight.
There's a billion people in this world.
She's gonna
hear from 10.
Exactly. So
and
now,
we're like,
she gained all this weight. Now she's gonna have all these cravings. No, she's not gonna be able to sleep. So now, all right, another one is like, you're not gonna be able to sleep when the baby comes. Yeah. My expectations is that I will not be able to sleep, but I have a goal to prove people wrong. That's always going to be my goal, because I think people are liars, number one.
No, they're not liars. People lose sleep, though. I think everybody can agree to that.
Yes, you lose some sort of sleep, and it's always like, oh, you're not going to get no sleep ever. You're going to be a walking dead zombie. It's like, I don't have to be what you were. How about that? How about we find ways to make sure Tony gets some sleep?
What about everybody else? You don't want to get sleep.
How about we find ways for Tony to get some sleep? So that's another thing that I'm expecting, not to get any sleep.
I think sleep is a big one. Yeah. Because mainly, even if you have help, we plan to breastfeed, God willing. It doesn't always work out that way. So even if you're getting help with somebody watching the child, as the mother, you still have to get up and pump, because you can't just sleep 6 hours and have the milk sit there in your breast. So you still have to get up, but you technically don't got to get up. If somebody, maybe you can feed the baby.
I could do that.
You can feed the baby out of bottle. So
I could do that.
Yeah, I could do that.
That's something I could probably do.
That's something you could probably do, maybe.
But I do expect me to have more time now that I'm not working anymore. I can have more time to help out with the family, help out with those tasks that you can't do, and I'm trying to do that now. Yeah. So also, that's my expectation too, being able to kind of alleviate some of those burdens you have
smoothly. Yeah. Hopefully.
We'll see. And when it comes to sleep, I don't know, but everything else, I got it. Everything else during the day, I swear I got it.
I've always said that though, because I'm like, we're not really like an arguing couple. We don't really argue much. But I've said not all my life, but all throughout our marriage, that the issue is going to fall when we have a child and him getting sleep.
So let's set those expectations down.
That's going to be the obstacle that we face that becomes tension in the house.
Let's make sure
that it's your turn. Wake up.
Let's make sure that Anthony gets the sleep that he needs so that he can be productive for the whole day.
Help yourself out. I ain't your mother. We got to figure it out as a team as to how that's going to work. That's expectation. Last one, I guess, would be about delivery.
Expectation around delivery.
So that's just a whole, I don't know, a whole scary dynamic just because of the facts, the research that Black women tend to get like lack of care or just not listened to or dying from delivery. So that is concerning in that way too.
We literally just was going through some information yesterday, and they were talking about ways to kind of mitigate some of the mindset fears around delivery. And they said that Beyonce as well as Serena Williams both had complications during their pregnancies, or at least in the room as well. So that's letting you know, if the people who have the highest level of care have these challenges, you better believe you might have some challenges
may have that
well.
challenge. And Serena literally knew what was happening, and then that's the scary part too. Yeah, because she had the issues prior too, and she's like,
So you having those, so you being able to have that mindset shift where, all right, we're talking about the fears right now, but also the information that we got was more along the lines of how can you alleviate those fears that we have of being in a delivery room.
Right. And I mean, kind of just talking through it, I think affirmations, things like that, that's the only way, and hoping and praying for the best. I mean, you can't really dictate, I know for a fact that this is going to happen. But that's part of it. Ooh.
But as with anything, you could kind of go into it more prepared so that you know, all right, if this happens, let's do this. Or if you go in there with some sort of game plan or something where you're not just the innocent bystander in the room, you come in there like, all right, this is my coaches, these are my players, this is my team, this is my playbook.
That's the thing with you. Like, you're very structured and stuff like that, and shit just don't go that way sometimes.
So, but let's walk through an example. Like, you don't want to be, what's it called?
Blindsided?
No, not the needle thing.
Epidural?
Yeah.
I didn't say I want that.
So you said, as I said, you said you didn't want it.
No, I didn't say I didn't want that.
But you don't want that to be the first thing that they do. So exactly, you do this when this happens, versus you walk in there like, all right, we're gonna hit you with this needle.
Okay. Like telling them what to do versus them telling you what they're going to do.
I'm not saying like I'm the man. Obviously, I'm never giving birth. I can't give birth. But I'm saying as we're talking through this, not even just this podcast, as we've been talking through these conversations, like, all right, what happens when this happens? And that's kind of like our mindset when going in.
Yeah, that's true.
So we can have the game plan so that
just I'm not education around it.
Exactly,
the education around it, which that's going to bring us to us getting a doula, because we have a doula. But before I get into that, one other thing that was a fear, because back in, what year are we in? Okay, we're in a new year. 2022. Back in 2020, we had a miscarriage, right? So when we, and we haven't shared this with anyone, so you only hear it here if you've been listening to the podcast. So when we did get pregnant in 2021, that was a fear as well. Yeah. Like, okay, is this going to hold? Yeah. Because what happened in 2020, that was kind of a shocker. I say shocker, but I mean, if you're having sex, it shouldn't be a shocker. But what I'm saying is we didn't expect it, right? And I called the doctor. They said, you come in at 8-9 weeks, because that's when they can see sonogram, whatever. Yeah. Go in there, like, the thought of having a miscarriage never even crossed my mind at that point. No. Obviously, women that happens, but it literally didn't even nothing. I had no thoughts on it at all until we walked in there, and he did it was a vaginal. I think it was a vaginal sonogram at that time, and he couldn't find the heartbeat, right? And I'm like, okay. But the doctor is very like, all right, let's not worry. Maybe you miscalculated, blah, blah, blah. We'll do blood work and everything. And at that moment, I just knew. I'm like, no. I have an app that calculates my menstrual cycle. I just knew. I'm like, something is off.
Definitely had that app too.
I'm like, no.
You show me the app all the time.
I was like, no. I couldn't have got this wrong. I mean, the app tells me. I didn't make this up, blah, blah, blah. And so that
was that app,
no, I don't know.
All good.
I mean, everybody, there's tons of apps out there that keep track of your menstrual cycle. But that was like, we went Tuesday, and the blood work was to come back Friday, basically to see your HCG levels, if it goes up, etc. And that's when they confirmed that it wasn't miscarriage. But I'm just saying, at that time, the expectation was just a healthy pregnancy, right? Like I said, it didn't even cross my mind about that. And so after hearing that, it's like, what the hell? So that was a difficult time that we had went through as well, of being parents and then not, and then kind of figuring out, like, telling people, and then kind of figuring out, like, should I be sad really? Because it only was really 9 weeks. Should we have named it? Should we not? Should we talk about it? Should not? Yeah. So that was a battle in itself in 2020 or ongoing.
And then even when I was talking to my boys about it, they was like, "Oh yeah, this happened to me." Oh yeah,
like 3 of them.
I was like wait, why nobody talking about this?
Yeah.
And I know it's personal, and I don't want to spend too much time on this too. But you know, it is something we went through, and then you know, something that is more normal than the doctor was like 3 out of 4 women. I was like, wait, 3 out of 4? That's 75%.
He said that. He was like, yeah, my wife experienced it. He's like, and then 2 months later, we had our last child. So like, you know,
and it's funny. He said a year later we'll be back here. Literally a year later, it was Father's Day.
Literally a year later. So in 2020. I found out I was pregnant day before Father's Day. 2021, I found out I was pregnant the day after Father's Day. Literally a year later.
And he said a year later, he's like, I would not be surprised if we're back in the same conversation. We was back. He's like, yeah, told you.
Yeah.
Dope doctor too. Really, and that's the thing. You want to be with a doctor that makes you feel comfortable too. Right. And I think we've been comfortable so far with him, and you know, he hasn't said or done anything where that was questionable or kind of felt he's forced us into anything. And when that situation happened, he enlightened us a lot more than we would have known.
Yeah, because you know, you start the Googles.
Yeah, you know, he's like get off the line. He's like, get off the internet. He's like, I want you to go back to living your life the way you normally was. He's like, I don't want you to sit down and think about it.
Yeah,
I want you to keep moving. He's like, you're gonna have a margarita. He's like, we're gonna start drinking margaritas again.
Yeah,
we're gonna go out to brunch. And he's like, live your life as you normally would. He's like, we'll be back here in a year, and then we could do this cycle again. And you know,
just because he wasn't concerned in that it was an ongoing thing.
Exactly.
You know, he's like, this is the first one we can't really say. So that was something that we experienced. And so as new parents, when this happened, it was just kind of like, all right, you're nervous every time.
Yeah.
You're nervous every time. And I think then you start feeling like, at least for me, I'm like, okay, I'm not that big yet. Because remember I said I didn't really pop until like 6 months. For a while, literally, my stomach was, you couldn't tell if I was just fat or, no, I'm serious. Like, it was just flabby. Like, you couldn't really tell. Yeah. And then you get to the point that you start feeling the kicks and stuff like that. You're like, okay, you kind of like,
and that thing
let your breath
down.
Oh yeah, it moves.
That was something I didn't know. I didn't know it felt like, you know,
an alien growing,
an alien
in there,
coming out your stomach,
like Men in Black.
Like I put my hand in and I felt like he or she was like giving me daps, like, yo, what's good, fam? You there? All right, cool.
I can feel you and hear you.
I feel like I'd be annoying them too. I'd put my hand there, like, yo, get out of here. Go do your own thing.
So I would say it was going to bring us to, like, we got a doula, which I mean.
What is a doula?
So generally, a doula would work with a midwife, which means like a midwife is similar to a doctor in regards to delivery, but they are not doctors. They mostly work in birth centers or in your home, midwives. And so doula goes hand in hand with that type of philosophy. And a doula is basically someone that's there to educate you as the parents along the journey. And then there's postpartum doulas as well. So they're really there for you. Anything education, birth rights, delivery, anything that you could think of, positioning yourself, preparing for delivery. She will be in our delivery room as well. So anything there to be there and support you. So we got a doula. Do I think it was a necessity? Not necessarily, but I think it helps us to feel at ease, and we're big on educating ourselves across the board. We can
spend money on courses about making money. We can spend education on
on our bodies and the child coming and expectations of what to feel. Yes, you can ask your doctors this, but I mean, I have my doula's like text number. I can just call.
And she's also Black as well.
She's also a Black woman as well. She's had deliveries in the hospital and she's had the delivery in a birth center, so she has different experiences. So we are going to be in a hospital because that's what we both feel comfortable with. I think that once we started speaking with the doula, and I just been social media, you know, once you start looking at one thing, they just flood in everything for you. I thought of doing, being comfortable at some point of doing like a birth center / home birth. If you would have asked me this before this, I would be like, hell no. I'm one that I will take an aspirin, I'll take a Motrin. I'm not really a natural healing person. Yeah. I'm very like Western, drug me up. You know, that's the type of life, not like a drug addict, but that's the type of life that usually, but since having this experience, I'm a bit more open to it. I'm not saying I will, but I'm just a bit more open to it. So we've had a doula, which has been very, very helpful. I don't know what your experience has been with having a doula.
Yeah, she's been. What's her name? Well, give her a shout out.
Chanel. Hopefully, we'll have her on the podcast one day.
Yeah, she's been amazing in Dallas, Texas, and I think the biggest part for me was just the education around just giving birth. Because, like I said, my whole expectation has been from family and friends and social media. So the good, the bad, the ugly. But I think from her perspective, she is educating me on what is possible, which is all this is really about. You know, anything we teach, anything we talk about we're only showing you what's possible. And she's showing us what's possible, but also how to navigate the possibilities of if this happens, or even you mentioned the birthing center for a little bit. And I never knew what that was. I never knew what a doula was. Never knew what a birthing center was.
Because I remember at the beginning I had asked you, I was like, do you want to go look at a birthing center to see what it is? You like, no, I don't know what that is. No, I don't want to.
Yeah, I definitely
He's like, you need to be in the hospital. That's it. No.
So that was only because you only know what you see. I don't know anybody who's had a home birth or had a birth at a birthing center. So when we started taking her course and having conversations with her, and we watched very graphic videos. And Tony was like, enough, no more. So we watched very graphic videos on childbirth, and it made me feel more comfortable because I've never seen childbirth.
Yeah.
I've never tried to watch it on TV. I never tried to YouTube it. I've never been one of those, hey, look at this video. No.
Yeah.
So I watched it and I saw it, but the videos we saw were all home births. And I was like, this looks like a very calming situation. You got your family, you got your friends, you got your mom, they had one with a dog in the room.
Yeah. It's whoever you want in the room.
So it had candles. I was like, this is a really dope experience that, hey, maybe our second one, or third one, or fifth one, it was a joke. Maybe our second one, we decide that we want to do something like that at home. So I was much more open to the conversation once I saw what it actually was. And that's all she's been doing, is showing us what's possible.
I think it's really the education. And people think, oh, a doula, they're going to force you to have a home birth or a natural birth and stuff. No, that's the case. I've made it very clear that I'm going to be in a hospital. This is what I want. This is how we're going to handle it. So it's not anything being forced upon me. It's just additional information that, okay, one could say like, well, I could Google, I could ask a friend, but I'm trying to get away from the accent of the friend. Obviously, everybody's experience is different, and most of the time, people start with the negative. I'm going to be very honest. Yeah, most of the time, people start with the negative.
They want to portray that on you most of the time.
Yeah, it's not like you don't want to hear it. I'm not saying like, oh, don't tell me nothing negative. I'm not saying that, because obviously things happen with childbirth. It is a huge surgery or process. We all understand that, but that's just. And that's life. It's life. The negative outweighs the good. So that has been our experience with our doula. So we're excited for that.
So right now we got she's a doula, and then we're going to be talking about doing a postpartum doula.
Postpartum doula.
And that person is going to be there to help you once the child is here. Yeah. And what's going to be their task and responsibilities for anyone that doesn't know.
So,
or including me.
Well, we have a consultation coming up literally tomorrow, so we'll get more details. My understanding and the way that doula has explained it is like, once again, this postpartum person is there for you, for me as the mother. So they can help, not for you. They can help with things such as like meal prepping, cleaning up, but also, you know, you get a lactation nurse at the hospital, but they can come into the home, make sure that the baby's latching if you're breastfeeding. And also they provide doing like either, 4, 6, 8 hour stints, if you will, to watch the baby. And so that's where when we started this podcast episode, we were talking about, they can watch them at night, they can watch them during the day. So they're really just there to support you. And I think they stay for about like 12 weeks. So that's like if you hire someone.
And they're not a nanny though. They're
not a nanny though. They consider themselves differently.
But doula takes care of the mom and the child mostly.
Yeah. So I guess it's very similar.
And we'll ask this question too.
It's very similar, but they don't call themselves nannies though. Yeah. No. And then we learned something else, that they have like something called like a newborn specialist as well now. Like that's a new thing that's
I'm sure there is.
You know, you can just branch out. It's a business. They have like newborn specialists. So after the postpartum doula leaves, you can like hire a newborn specialist, or you can just hire a nanny. So all of that is happening.
But all of this is really just about educating yourself. So even us having this conversation with you guys, it's just us sharing our journey, so that hopefully someone gets, one piece of knowledge from me. I was like, oh, I didn't know about that. Oh, I didn't know this happens. Oh, I didn't even know what a doula was. Because I've heard the term. I had no idea what they did.
Same thing with my mother. She was like, my mother, and even my aunt, was a nurse for kids.
You tell somebody you having a doula, and they're like, "Oh, you having a birth at home?" Or
they just assume it's just the natural route. And like I said, mostly doulas do work with midwives, which is the natural route. But they can still work with you if you're going to the hospital traditional way so
we're gonna get her on the podcast, and she can give y'all the full rundown.
Oh yeah, that would be great. That would be great.
Now we throwing that pressure on her.
What are you, when it comes to having a kid, what are you looking forward to the most?
I think what am I looking forward to the most? I think being able to, I don't know. I think just being a good parent, honestly, just being there. I had both of my parents growing up, at least for a good amount of my life, or my younger years. So I think just being a good parent and just giving my kid the experiences that I didn't have. Not to say that my experience wasn't great growing up, but just also making sure that they're able to experience things that I didn't. And I think that's one of my biggest things. That's what I'm looking forward to.
I think I'm looking forward to just the dynamic of our family. Of what that looks like now with a kid. It's kind of, I'm looking forward to it and kind of scared at the same time with it. I mean, we were talking about that in the car, about like trips and vacations. And like yesterday we went out and it was one of our friends' birthday, but we found out, I think like Wednesday, they were like, oh, we're like, all right, we'll come. So Tony was like, what would we do in a situation we had a child? I'm like, we either couldn't go or see if we get a nanny. And he's like, is a nanny on call? I'm like, I don't think so. Yeah. It depends on if they just working with your family or other families.
So we got to do more planning to leave the house.
We'd have to do more planning, vacationing. Like, we're down here by ourselves. Our family does not live here with us. So I'm like, if we get a nanny, you're going to allow a nanny to watch your kid for 5 days while you're away?
Probably not.
Or you bringing a nanny with you on vacation, spending some good money, It's kind of like, so that type of thing, I'm excited to see how it affects our family dynamics, and with Blue, our dog, but also like worried as to the change. But I think we'll just adapt as we do everything else. Yeah,
that one that you mentioned, just getting up and going, is going to be huge. Like, we'll get up and go to Target. Now it's like, well, you can't really
You stay home.
Yeah,
because it don't make sense to click in the car seat.
And Target's like 5 minutes from us. So it's going to take you more time to get that car seat in,
put the
get
jacket
the baby
on, or take it off in the car seat, and
then actually to drive and trip in. Trip in Target is going to be at least an hour itself. But trip to Target is like 3 minutes. So not being able to get up and do things as we normally would, that'll be something that I won't say worried about, but I would say something that we got to figure out.
It's a concern. It's a change.
Because like, you got a friend's birthday event coming up, and it's traveling. So now we got to figure out, are we even going to go to that?
Yeah.
Can we go? If we can't go,
what does that look like? What does that look like? I'm like, I can't ask my mother to fly down from New York every time.
Yeah, she needs to move to Dallas
every time to just come watch our child for a week or 4 days, or can I?
Yeah.
So just kind of figuring that dynamic out.
Yeah, but I think just us being, just given that children, like you traveled a lot growing up.
Yeah.
So I think also that's going to be huge for me. Like, all right, making sure that our child is being able to travel more than you, more than me, being able to go to places that we've never been. One of the first places they're going to go to is what?
Oh,
family reunion, right?
Yeah, St. Lucia.
So St.
God
Lucia.
willing. And then they also are going to Spain.
So St. Lucia and Spain within the first year.
Yes.
So
they're going to be...
Well, we're going to see how this is going to work. Y'all got to tune in.
5 months and then like 9 months, something like that.
We're going to have to keep y'all posted on how these trips go.
Oh, that's going to be a podcast in itself. Traveling with a baby.
Because we see these people in the airport and it's like, no way.
Oh, yeah, it'd be a lot of work. But when it's 2 people, hopefully it's okay. And then we can't do our last minute packing. I mean, we pack last minute all the time. We can't do all that.
It's definitely going to change. But I'm excited about the new dynamic of our family.
Yeah.
Making sure that we're able to kind of do all the things we want to do growing up.
Right. What else do we... we're just talking through like what new parents are going to be like, the things that we've thought about now actually having a kid. Since being down here in Dallas, Texas, I've always had a concern about just like raising a kid in Dallas. Now,
why Dallas? What's the issue with Dallas?
I'm about to say Dallas, Texas, however you want to say.
We got listeners in Dallas. Be careful.
I don't care what they gotta say. What?
Shout out to Dallas. I love Dallas, number one.
Let me finish my statement and I can tell you why. So raising a kid in Texas, Dallas, the lack of culture is a concern, right? To be quite honest and frank, the area that we live in, which has one of the top ranked schools in Dallas, there is no black people, not many black kids or people in general. So I don't know how it's going to feel for your child to be the only black kid. And then in communities where there may be other blacks, Hispanics, you don't want your children going to those schools because they tend not to be better schools out here in Dallas. I'm not saying everywhere in America, but just out here in Dallas, they tend not to be highly rated schools. So it's a concern of how do you make sure your child still gets that. They can't get the experience that we got in New York with the melting pot, but how do they still get that insight, comfortability, culture stuff? And I understand you teach your child things at home, but a lot of it is their views and stuff come from outside of the home as well, especially in certain years, socializing and things like that. So that is a huge concern of mine.
It is
raising them.
It is not a concern of mine.
Why?
Because I feel like you go to school, yes, it's great that they get a great education. It may not, what?
I must say, you had experience of when you were younger of a white child calling you the N-word.
Yeah. I went to an all black, our school was a majority. No, it wasn't a majority.
No, a Royce man was half and half. But you at least saw the difference. You at least had people that looked like you there.
Yeah. He just had anger in his heart. Okay. And so did I, because I beat him up, beat him really bad. Had a lot of anger back then. But I feel like, all right, it is what it is. Let's make the best of it. So if our child goes to a predominantly white school, I went to predominantly white college. I went to both my colleges predominantly white. And what?
Albany is not predominantly white.
Yes, it's
that's what it says, but actually
it is.
Okay, you may be 100% right. It may be 80% white and 20% minority, but the minorities stick together, so you don't even feel it.
So regardless if they stick together or not, I went to predominantly white school.
Same thing from my high school,
and I was mostly one of the few black kids in my classes, and I got most of my classes.
But you're older by then.
What do you mean? What are you talking about? I'm literally telling you my experience, regardless if I was in college or not. I'm just telling you my experience. So I'm in college, and I was predominantly the only one of the few minorities in my classes. I'm in a lecture hall of 400 or 500 people, and it's maybe 5%, maybe 10%. So we're talking about a handful of black kids. But when I left that classroom, I'm going to my counterpart. I'm going to the people I hang out with, which is the communities that I'm in. So I feel like you could kind of get that same experience. Well, you may not have the schooling where you got the majority of the black kids, but you leave the school, all right, you go home to mom and dad. Mom and dad are involved in activities where you kind of give them the experience that you want. And I feel like we could do that if we want to do that as parents.
I don't disagree, but then I think about, where did you grow up at though? So it's not the same.
Okay.
We both grew up in the same place in Brooklyn, New York, in the projects. There is no white people. No, there is. There actually is. Yeah. But at least you had a home base. Like our child, at least where we are now, I'm not saying we're going to be in the same neighborhood. No. I haven't seen a black person at all.
We've been outside. It's not like we've only walked the dog in the morning and at night. There's not in the very early morning and at the very late night.
I guess it's a little cold.
It's cold in Dallas, and there's not many people outside in general.
But we've seen people.
All right, so you know what we're gonna do? I got it. Here's what we're gonna do. We also live by a school. We're gonna go to the nearest school. We're gonna walk blue,
there like a stalker, stalking the kids.
Stuff. No, we're gonna walk blue. Blue doesn't like kids. We're gonna walk around. You pregnant ladies need walks. You're not a harm. Okay. You're not harm to anyone. We're gonna walk around and see how many black kids are there, and that should give you a good example of that area that we're in.
Because that's what I'm saying. Like, so even if
we haven't seen many people in general.
Okay, that may be true. But even if like your example of college of like having just a few people in the classroom, it don't really matter because where you came from and where your home bases had a range of black people and other people, so it's not an issue because you grew up with it. My thing is, most of the areas that we have lived in, even living out here in Dallas and probably will continue to live in, it's probably going to be us and one other couple or another family. It's not many of them. So they ain't getting it at the home base, like even in the area where they live, and they ain't getting it at school. Like, yes, we can talk to them and tell them and provide. But I think like what you said, like maybe the after school is somewhere that has.
Also, we got friends and family down here now, and they all got kids are in the same area. Kids are in the same
age range.
Yeah, we got a whole community within ourselves that we have.
We
just got to think outside of the schooling system.
back to Brooklyn too.
Yeah, so we got family and friends. You go to a family reunion, you got 3,000 black people there.
Not 3,000. It's about 100, 80 to 100.
So you got plenty of experiences within our own community. We just got to make sure we're really diligent about getting them to those spaces.
Yeah, no, I agree.
And that's going to be on us as parents. We can't just say, oh, it's going to happen naturally. You got to force it to happen. We got to make it happen.
That's the thing. I think that's the thing. So I don't think that it's not possible. I think it's just the act of having to force it. And, growing up in New York, there's no forcing it.
Yeah.
You see people everywhere. There's no shocker. There's no, we have a friend out here that she was like, she's never seen an Orthodox Jew. And maybe where you're from, you've never seen it either. And what that means is Orthodox Jews, they have a suit usually and curly hair on the side and a hat, and so they have a distinct look from people that just practice the Jewish religion. And so things like that, it's like, how have you never seen that? But where you're from, where you're from, it is what it is.
Somebody on Twitter said, I saw the Monopoly Man or something like that.
Oh my God.
And it was like, I guess they could. He saw the Monopoly Man in Brooklyn, New York, and he was like, what do you mean? He's like, yeah, I saw a man wearing a top hat and a full suit. It was like,
with their fur,
you probably in Crown Heights in Brooklyn or something.
Yeah, exactly, right? And so different things.
Monopoly Man.
People are crazy. Different things. So that's just a concern. We just will have to do the work. I understand that.
I mean, you got to do the work regardless of, when you're a parent. Mm-hmm. So that's what we're going to be able to focus on. So we already talked about, what our kids' upbringing will look like, but then also discussion on money. So your grandfather gave us our first nesting pot for the kid.
Yeah. I don't even know why he gave that. What was that for?
I have no idea. He said whenever you guys have a kid,
I don't think it would. So my grandfather is going to be 89. Mm-hmm. So when he gave $1,000, I think that was just his spree of giving away money at that time. I don't think it was towards anything. I was like, let's make it the baby's pot, because my thought was, God forbid, my grandfather's not here by the time we have a child, then it was like, I can always say your grandfather or great grandfather, started this for you.
Yeah.
Basically. And so we did that. And then we started to put money into it to save for a baby. I mean, how much do you save for a baby? The Lord knows. I mean, you can Google, and it all depends on your salary range, what you plan to spend, nannies, daycare, blah, 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 blah.
I think our baby has a net worth of like $30,000 right now.
Yes.
And the baby doesn't have a name? Oh, we never even spoke about the gender situation, did we?
No, we don't have a gender. I mean, we have the baby.
have a gender. Non-binary. The baby,
don't get that started, child.
Listen, you could come out as the way you want to come out.
This is how I decide to identify myself.
Day one.
So wait, let me finish that thought, and then we'll get to the gender. But so money wise, so my comfortability has been $30,000 is what's sitting there for the baby. You may say, for what? I don't got the answer per se, but things that will come up. So there's medical expenses. Even though you have insurance, there is still a medical bill. Not everybody knows that. People think because you have insurance is fully covered. It is not. There's still a medical bill. I think other things come up. Nanny, maybe a doula, things we have to pay for. Not much clothes and stuff. We got everything from our baby shower that we would need for a while. So we ain't buying clothes. Listen, we just want it there just in case. I want it there just in case. Don't mind his faces.
I'm quiet. Because the question was, how much do you need to feel comfortable for the baby? And you said 30,000.
I said more, and Tony was like, no.
And I said, why? He's like, yeah, you never know. I was like, all right, cool, whatever. One thing you'll learn about her as we continue to drop these podcast episodes is when it comes to finances, it may not be a rhyme or reason, but sometimes you just got to settle on, all right, you said
what's comfortable.
You said 40. I said 10.
Said 50, and we came down.
And we came down to 30, and it's like, all right, cool. If you don't need a 30, there's a raise that I get, and we get to spend that money on an investment or something like that.
Yeah, we could do something else with it. I mean,
so just put it there as a pot.
Maybe we'll report back if we ended up needing that or what we ended up needing, really.
So sometimes you just got to settle and just move on with your life. So we're sitting on cash for the baby right now.
Yeah, so they have that net worth, and they'll get other things going.
So everyone asks us like, what's the gender? And
we don't know the gender because I just didn't want to know what the gender was. Maybe I got that from my mother because she didn't know what I was either. So until the delivery, obviously.
Why was that? Was that her choice?
It was a choice.
I knew that. Okay.
She didn't want to know what it was.
Cool. So you did it because your mom did it. Got it.
Probably, yeah. I mean, I don't know many people I don't know anyone that's done that actually. And so when I tell like the doctors and everybody else, they're like, wow, you don't hear that anymore. And he definitely was like, he wanted to know, but
it was people like, you care? I'm like, yeah, I care, but it's like, we just want, make a difference. We just want a healthy baby at the end of the day. So I was like, wow, I couldn't have done that. I couldn't have done it either. I'm only doing it because I'm forced to at this point.
Yeah, so we don't know what the gender is, but we'll know shortly. It's no rush. About 85% of people say they think it's a boy, and the other 15 say they think it's a girl.
We want to know. Y'all need to drop in the comments right now. Whenever this releases, which I think we have. Hopefully it releases before the baby. Before the baby.
Before the baby reveal. And they're like, well, I know now.
No, we'll make sure this gets out before the baby drops. So make sure you drop a comment letting us know what you think we're going to have and why. Because everybody got a bunch of... What's with this?
Oh, there's old wives' tales. There's old wives' tales.
Wives' tales.
Wives. Yeah, wives. You're right.
Wives. I don't think these wives have sales about this stuff. So
you're right.
Based on the stomach size, based on your face, based on your ears, based on your eyes, based on your nose,
ears and eyes,
based on the way you carry. Is it high? Is it low? Are you tippy toeing?
You're ridiculous. But yeah, and the baby's moving like crazy right now, actually. I think it hears us speaking about it. But so yeah, we don't know the gender. We have that money saved up for the baby because that's just what I was comfortable with. And we'll figure out what we do. Like maybe it goes into a Roth IRA. Maybe it goes into like the Gerber stuff. I don't know. Ugh, those investments that people have, which actually brings me to a point of, how you set up a baby's account. I only remember Gerber because that's the first thing I think about, where you can start saving for their college. Mm-hmm. And then they have, which are... our financial advisors that told us this years ago, they have like another investment account that you can start saving for them in general that they can use towards kind of any type of schooling. It doesn't have to be for college.
Education.
And
then
which one would you go with, I guess?
I also goes to the question of what I was actually about to ask you. What if the kid doesn't want to go to school?
Right. That's what I'm saying. So
it's not even about the investment, just in general. Like what if your kid doesn't want to go to college?
I don't know that it would be a biggie. A conversation we had about was out of state versus in state.
Yeah, we argued about that. I'm not sending my kid out of state.
I would send my kid out of state.
Nah, we got two different kids then. We don't
get me wrong. Texas has a lot of good schools, so I think that they probably can find something in Texas if we're still here.
Because I think most of the time people want to go out of state because their friends are doing it, and it's like, oh, it's a cool thing. I'm going out of state because my friends do it. If you really do the research, you're not getting a much better education out of state unless you go to a specialized school that has what you want. Most of the time, it's
Harvard, Brown.
Most of the time, you're going to friends and you're going to school that your friends are going to. So they're going out of state. Oh, I want to go out of state too. Only because your friends are going. We're going to keep you in state right here in my backyard.
He's trying to be cheap. That's why he don't want the child to go out of state.
Because you get obviously better grants and rewards for staying in the state that you reside in. So you going out of state is not giving you a better education most of the time.
My point of saying the child could go out of state is because I want my child to live their dreams. So if they want to go out of state.
They're not living their dreams on my dime. How about that? You want to go out of state, you're going to pay out of state money. You're going to have to pay for it out of pocket.
Oh, you sound like those parents who you passing by McDonald's. You got McDonald's money?
You got McDonald's money? I can't wait to use that line, too.
Oh, God. But yeah, so if my child said they don't want to go to college, I don't know that I would be... I don't know. I think I would want them to at least get a bachelor's, maybe. I don't know. That's my thought process. But as the times change and things go on, then... maybe it won't be that way, but right now I at least want them to get a bachelor's.
I think by the time our kid is of age to go to college, I don't think it would even matter at that point. I don't think college will be a thing. Especially right now, I know
times are changing right now, so I can only imagine.
Like when we did the class, when we did what was it? We had the conversation with the high school kids. Was that you? Or did I have it by myself?
Oh, yeah. A charter school.
A charter school.
Yeah, they had all the questions about entrepreneurship. All the
questions about entrepreneurship. Mm-hmm. It was like no one was asking. I mean, obviously, we spoke about us going to college, our experience. We spoke about our debt, how we paid it off.
Having fun in college.
How we're having fun, going away. We spoke about drinking. And the questions they were asking was only about entrepreneurship.
Yeah,
Most of them was about entrepreneurship. Someone asked about paying off debt. Yeah. So that kind of lets you know where high school kids are today. They're thinking about entrepreneurship.
Social media.
You see somebody on TikTok making $1 million. I want to make $1 million on TikTok. I actually do want to make $1 million on TikTok. So I think by the time our kid is of age, it won't even matter about college.
Okay. But I might still have an old school mindset and say I still want you to go.
You're going to have to teach the kid in school because there ain't going to be teachers there either.
What are you talking about?
They all gonna be in the metaverse at that point.
Oh, God.
It's
What
gonna
the
be all
hell?
online at that point.
What the hell?
Online college is gonna be the norm, especially with, we've realized this in COVID. Like, no one's going into classrooms anymore. Everyone's using online education, and now if we're doing this whole digital reality space, it's probably going to turn into like a metaverse type of thing where you go into classes. College? Yeah, you go into classes with the.
I mean, it's kind of like Zoom.
Whatever, exactly. It's going to be Zoom. You're going to have your shades on. You're going to be in the classrooms. It's going to be all online. College won't be a thing.
Okay, I guess we won't refer back to this for our kid. Your dad said
21 years. I said it. You look at me back in the day. I was on it. I was on something back in the day.
In the day. Let me see. What else did we want to discuss? How many kids do you want?
2 to 3 max. We spoke about this.
Not on the platform.
Okay. Like it's a new conversation. I got you. 2 to 3 max.
2 to 3 max. Okay.
We'll see how the second one goes. We got to see how the first one goes.
Yeah, that's my thing. I said to see how the first one goes. I'm the only child. It's you and your 2 younger brothers. There's 3 of you guys.
Yeah.
Do you know if your mom wanted a girl ever?
I think she did. Yeah.
Okay, that's probably why she went for 3.
Yeah. She tried 3 times.
Yeah. I guess we'll see how the first one goes. I say that I would have 3 max too, but I don't really know.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest. I think I may be fine with 1.
If
Who
we
knows?
get a girl and a boy or a boy and a girl, I think that's it.
I would have to agree completely. That if those people that get boys and girls and whatever bang it out, I'm like, oh, that's it. There's no more.
Our friends, they had twins. One was a girl, one was a boy. I think they're done.
Clank, clank. I would close shop.
One of our other friends, he had twins and both of them were girls. He's like, I'm not going for it.
I ain't trying.
I ain't going to try, which makes sense.
But I did hear because one of my cousins said that nowadays, I don't know how true it is, that you can pay like $5,000.
Yeah.
To make sure of what your next gender is going to be.
But that's it.
I know, that's what I said. I was like, I don't think that doesn't seem too high to guarantee a gender.
Yeah, it also sounds crazy too. I don't know.
Sounds very crazy. I know some people it sounds like that's messing with like God and science. Like that sounds like out of what God wants for you.
Yeah, people are doing weird things nowadays. So
but so you say 2 to 3.
You try it, go for it.
I say 1 to 3.
That's fine with me.
1 to 3. We'll see how this one goes. And then perfect parenting. What do you? I mean, we don't know what type of parents we don't even know what's left from right with this child at this point. Yeah. But is there anything that you feel like would make you a better parent, make you like the perfect parent, or what you need to do to make sure that the child is a certain way, or I don't know.
For me, I don't think there is a perfect parent. I think you could be the perfect parent for your kid. And I think it's
enough.
I think it's a general answer, but I think being the perfect parent for your kid. So whatever your kid needs at that time, you being the parent that, like, I think my mom wasn't a perfect parent, but she was a perfect parent for me. Mm-hmm. I don't think your mom's a perfect parent, but she's a perfect parent for you. And I think you can be the perfect parent for your kid. Mm-hmm. Now, you may have parents who tried their best to do everything right for their kid and things just didn't go right. That doesn't mean they weren't a good parent. It's just their circumstances just didn't allow them to. And I think with us having our community, having our resources, having our friends and family, I think
a lot of people to lean on.
I think we can be the perfect parents for our kids. Kids, plural down the line.
Kids. Kid, us with the parentheses around it.
What about you?
Yeah, I would agree. I think you summarized it well. I don't know what a perfect parent looks like, but just being available for your child and not thinking that everything way that you raise was the right way. Yeah. I think is a big thing too. Because there's going to be changes and things that you do that your parents would be like, well, that's not what I did. And that's not what I would suggest and all that type of stuff. So I think being open to something new, if you were in a household that your parents never apologized, being able to apologize, because we all make mistakes. We're all wrong. And like the kid just got to listen, I'm not saying your kid got to disrespect you now. Let's be clear. But they could say something back.
Yeah, definitely.
They could say something. It could
be a conversation.
A conversation in a respectful way, obviously. Which brings me to a quick thing. Do you think you'll hit your kid?
No, I won't, because there was this tweet I saw, and I'll tell you, they said.
I used to get beaten.
They said you got bad grades at school and your mama beat you, where they should have put your ass in tutoring. I said that if that wasn't spot on, it's like, why
you could do both.
Why are you beating me? My ass needs to be in tutoring. How about that? Put me in tutoring.
You can do both, but yeah.
I don't say I disagree with the way I was brought up, but I think there are better ways to do things, and I think we make the best of our circumstances. If that was the way you just brought up, that's the only way you know how to parent. Hey, by all means, beat your kids. Not back then, but now we know that there's other ways around it. We know there's resources. Now that we know there's different mental abilities and that you have as a kid, or things you don't have as a kid that you may need to get help with. So don't beat me when I get a bad grade. Put my ass in tutoring.
It may not only just be a bad grade. These kids be tested, knowing they doing wrong, while putting their hand on the fire. No, I get what you're saying.
That was just one that I saw. I was like, if you say it out loud or you read it, that's absolutely nuts. And it didn't help. It did help me get better grades in certain circumstances. I think I was able to. I ended up applying myself more.
I think the biggest thing is what we say is like, I got beans and I turned out fine.
Yeah.
Right. And that's the thing. It's like, I turned out okay. It's like, who said you okay?
Definitely.
That's your thought process on it. But we just want. You had anything else to add?
Nah, that's it.
Okay. So we just wanted to kind of talk about what we've been discussing when it comes to being new parents. Obviously, we don't know it all. Even after we have a child, we won't know it all. But we're excited for this new chapter, this new journey, and open to the discussion. Thoughts that you guys have, things that you will share. Make sure that you subscribe. Make sure that you give us a rating, give us feedback. Let us know how we're doing. So yeah,
we're close to 80 reviews right now, so please drop us a review and rating if you listen to this podcast on any of your platforms. If you're on YouTube, please subscribe, man. We're trying to grow that YouTube thing right now.
We're doing it all.
We appreciate you guys being here. We appreciate you guys being in this conversation, because these are conversations we're having, every day. And hopefully you guys are able to take some gems from it. Hopefully you was able to take one piece of it. Hopefully even brought you guys closer to us, learn more about our story, and also things we're expecting and looking forward to. So, appreciate you guys being here. Listen to the Hartzog Hustle podcast. Keep hustling. Peace.
There we go.
This has been an episode of the Hartzog Hustle podcast. We hope you enjoyed. Be sure to rate and review this podcast on your favorite listening platform. And follow Anthony and Janilka on Instagram at The Hartrimony. That's TheHartrimony. Keep hustling, baby. Keep hustling, baby.
Get that money. Get that money.